It's been 2 years since Ninja launched their revolutionary double stack air fryer. And now most major air fryer manufacturers have brought out their own version of a stacked air fryer. Philips is the latest to jump on the bandwagon with their 10-litre 4000 series. Now, Philips may have been the first to bring us air fryers, but are their newer models as good as the competition? In this video, I'll show you all the functions, tell you what you need to watch out for if you've just bought one, and if you stick around till the end, I'll give you some alternative stacked models which have the same features and actually cost less. But before we get into the details of this model, I have something really important to flag up if you've just bought this model and you're watching this video before you use it for the first time. Be extremely careful that you ensure that you've removed all of the packaging before you turn it on. Now, I know some people watching this will be rolling their eyes because this will seem to be so obvious to them, but on this model, it isn't. I thought that these cardboard pieces stuck onto the sides of the drawers might catch a few people out, so I filmed myself taking them off to include in this video. But it was only after I ran the air fryer at 200 Celsius for 10 minutes that I discovered that there was actually more cardboard packaging that was hidden underneath the drawers themselves. Now, fortunately, in my case, nothing happened, but word of warning, don't be me, make sure you've removed all the packaging first. So onto the appliance itself. This model comes in two colours. This one is the black, and they also do a black and gold version. They are identical apart from their looks. Black and gold is supposed to be the premium finish, but depending on the day, it doesn't always follow that it's the more expensive one to buy. So I'll put links to both of the versions in the description below, and if you're thinking about buying either, then do make sure you check the links for both to find out which one is currently the cheapest. Size-wise, this model is quite narrow compared to the other stacked air fryers which I have at the moment. On top, it's slightly higher at the front where the control panel is, but it has good clearance under overhead cupboards. It's relatively deep on the worktop, which means you'll need to have some space at the side to be able to rest the drawer when you remove it. And the hot air outlet is on the left-hand side, so I need to make sure you leave at least 15 centimetres of space on that side too. Both drawers have windows in them and a light which you can turn on and off with a button on the control panel. The windows give you a really good, clear view of what you're cooking, but they will get dirty and require cleaning. On other air fryers which I've tested with a similar design, I've found that the best way to do a deep clean every few months is to remove these screws on the inside of the drawer. But technically that may void your warranty, so I'm not actually advising you to do that. I'm just saying that's what I do. The drawers themselves and the plate which goes inside them are dishwasher safe, and they have a PFAS-free ceramic coating, which is fast becoming the standard of new air fryers as more and more people are asking for it. The finish on the outside of this model is high gloss, which is my least favourite finish on an air fryer because it's very unforgiving. You'll notice fingerprints on it almost immediately, and you'll end up cleaning it, or at least polishing it, more than you would if it had a matte finish. Philips air fryers are of course famous for their rapid air technology, which they claim makes hot air circulate more efficiently. You can always spot Philips air fryers because they have a distinct raised starfish pattern at the bottom of the drawer. And this model actually has Philips Rapid Air Plus technology, which is apparently the new and improved version of their patented design. It doesn't, unfortunately, necessarily mean that you do away with the need to shake or turn your food when it's in the air fryer, as indicated by the fact that this air fryer has a shake reminder. And when I tested it out with a garlic baguette and forgot to turn it, you'll notice there was quite a difference between the top and the bottom. The two cooking compartments are entirely independent and can be set for different times and temperatures. Unusually, the heating element and fan are in different locations on this model. The heating element is overhead, which is a good thing, but the fan is actually at the back. And as a result, the drawers have open backs so the air can pass through them. Now, I did think that this unusual arrangement of fans and heating elements might mean that things in the drawer cooked unevenly, with things at the back cooking better than the front. But that wasn't a problem I experienced. However, I did notice that when I cooked cookies in the bottom drawer, they cooked faster than the cookies in the top drawer, but not so much that it would really matter. As with all Philips air fryers, the printed instructions for this model are pretty sparse. There are diagrams without words in the coloured leaflet and a multi-language technical leaflet. If you want more in-depth instructions, you need to scan the QR code to access a PDF online. The QR code also links you to the Philips Home ID app, but this model isn't a smart air fryer, so the app only gives you access to some pretty generic air fryer recipes and tips and tricks, all of which you can get elsewhere, so I wouldn't bother downloading it. As far as the warnings in the instructions go, the only one that's worth pointing out is that Philips advise against using tin foil or baking paper in their air fryers. Different manufacturers have different policies on this. Philips say no to both. With foil, that's because if you place it at the bottom of the basket, it can interfere with their special raised design on the base and in theory reduce cooking performance. And with baking paper, that's because there is a risk associated with using it when it isn't weighed down, because it could be blown around by the fans and sucked into the heating element. But you've probably noticed that I did use baking paper when I made the cookies. And I did that because I've never had an occasion when baking paper, which has food on top of it, has been sucked into the heating element. And I think in this particular case, Philips are being overly cautious, and they're doing that for all levels of cooking skills and comprehension. So I think you could be sensible and make your own mind up about what to do. Now, before we get on to the cooking settings, if you're new here, I'm Clara, and if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also, if this video has been helpful so far, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up. So let's have a look at the buttons on the control panel. There are 6 different shortcuts which can give you preset times and temperatures for popular foods. There's one for frozen potato-based snacks, steak, fish, vegetables, chicken drumsticks, and reheating leftovers. Or you can just set the basket manually by selecting the drawer and choosing your own time and temperature. There's a sync finish option, which you can set the drawers up with different times and then have them finish together. And as I mentioned earlier, there's also a shake reminder, which you can turn on and off. Running both drawers on this air fryer for 10 minutes at 200 Celsius used 0.277 kilowatt hours, which would cost about 8 pence at today's energy prices. Or using this air fryer for 20 minutes a day for a year would cost you £55.30. And that's about what I'd expect in comparison to other stacked models which I've tested. The maximum temperature you can set this air fryer to is 200 Celsius, and the lowest it can be set to is 40 Celsius. 40 Celsius is low enough in theory to be able to dehydrate, but I wouldn't recommend buying this air fryer if you're planning on dehydrating regularly, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, you're going to struggle with the long durations that dehydrating needs, because the maximum time you can set this model to is only 60 minutes. So you'll have to reprogram the drawer multiple times. And annoyingly, doing that is more complicated than it needs to be, because when you get to the end of a cooking cycle and you want to reprogram, the match settings option isn't available, and you have to turn the appliance off and on again to get it back. Also, this air fryer only has one fan speed, and although the volume of that fan didn't bother me when I was doing short cooks, it did become really annoying when it was running for several hours. And on the subject of volume, because you always want to know, This is what the beeps sound like. They aren't particularly loud, and I do think it would be easy to miss them if you're in another room when the cooking finished, but equally, some people prefer quieter beeps. This air fryer doesn't come with any accessories in the box, and because it's new, options are quite limited at the moment. There are no racks made for it, either by Philips or third parties. A lot of the Philips stuff they do make already doesn't fit in this model. But what I will do is leave a link below to a couple of other accessories that I've checked fit in the drawers, and if you're struggling to find things, then you can use those. So if you're still weighing up your options for stacked air fryers, I have two others for you to consider. Firstly, my budget option is Salter's VertiCook. It's 1 litre smaller, PFAS free, and it has windows. But also do take a look at the newly launched Cosori Turbo Tower Compact. That is 1.4 litres smaller, but it's also PFAS free, it's cheaper than the Philips, and it has variable fan speeds. I've got videos on both of those in the description below, and they should be appearing on the screen right now.